So today it's my pleasure to be here in beautiful Stockholm. Stockholm is not a new city to me. I used to work for a company called Trade Doubler. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the company Trade Doubler, but that brought me to Stockholm on many occasions, and I always enjoy being in Stockholm. I get a really warm feeling of almost coming home. But that's obviously not what I'm here to talk about today. As mentioned, I'm here to talk about growth hacking and how growth hacking can optimize your digital experience. I'm not a growth hacker myself. That's my first disclaimer, right? But I do think I have the growth hacking mindset, which is what I will try and convey to you here today. I don't have enough time to go through all the processes. I mean, you can read books and books and books, and there's a great website. Actually, there's lots of websites that will tell you a lot about growth hacking. What I'll do today is I'll take out a few of those processes and I'll combine it with testing, and together we'll see how I can convey that growth hacking mindset to you. So, Andrew Maat, it's a Dutch surname, but well done. Director of International Markets for a company called Testbirds, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Testbirds in a while. Prior to joining Testbirds, I worked for a large number of international software companies in various positions: sales, marketing, online marketing. I've also started a few of my own startups where I think I first got involved and first learned about growth hacking and how growth hacking helped me. And now I'm in Testbirds. I help clients on a daily basis with growth and with the growth hacking techniques, so they can help improve their digital experience of their clients. Hopefully I have some time to share some examples of that with you. So Testbirds as a company, we were founded in Munich in 2011, a long time ago, and we have offices actually here in Stockholm. That's obviously why I'm here. But I head up the international operation out of our Amsterdam office. We have completed more than 1,200 projects in the years, and we have more than 600 clients. So we know a thing or two about customer experience, about digital experience, about digitalization, and of course, combined with growth hacking, I think it's a really good combination. At the end of my talk, I'll just give you a few pointers because there's a lot of things you can do yourself with everything that I'm mentioning today. And if you only pick up one of those things and apply them in your daily job, in your daily processes, I would be absolutely thrilled, and I think I've achieved a lot. So, final thing on Testbirds, we are a crowd testing company, and we also combine that with cloud testing. So on the one hand, we have the human interface, and on the other hand, we have just pure automation. And that's also something that I'll bring up later during my talk. So, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Anyone in here a developer? Can we see some hands? Okay, good. We have a lot of developers. Product owners. A few of those as well. I think the mix is quite good, right? We have a handful of product owners, more developers. Anyone using waterfall? Don't worry, it's no shame. It's still, for a lot of processes, it works best. Okay. Agile? Most. Okay, so I'm not going to talk today about the pros and cons of Agile and Waterfall, because as mentioned, they both have their benefits. But growth hacking came from the whole Agile way of thinking, right? Making short iterations, short steps, try, fail often, fail fast, and that's what we're going to look at today. So, growth hacking. What is growth hacking? To me, growth hacking is a mindset. It is a mindset where you try to literally hack growth. And hacking growth can be done in a number of ways. Now, it originally stems from a marketing background where, companies were trying to go from A to B as fast as possible, achieve a great result at an absolute minimum cost. This principle you can apply to everything, right? So more and more you start seeing people that growth hack their sales department, they growth hack development, they growth hack anything that can be growth hacked. So it's become more than just a method used by marketers. So what can we learn from this? What can we learn from the principles of growth hacking, and how can we apply them in development? And how can we combine that with testing, whether it's UX testing or whether it's QA testing? So, here is Sean Ellis, and you've had the honor of meeting him. Unfortunately, I haven't been so fortunately, but really like his work. So Sean Ellis taught us that sustainable growth comes from understanding your best customers and how to find and acquire more of them. If you know the way to get to your best customers, again, you can apply that same principle not only to your best customers, but you can apply them to your perfect customers. You can apply them to a whole new group of people that you would like to target. You can apply that principle to your digital experience, your customer's digital experience. So let's look at a few myths about growth hacking. I'm sure you have some ideas, maybe some ideas of what growth hacking is, and what I hear a lot is, okay, it's a buzzword, it's a hype. Well, yeah, so is the internet, right? We remember that internet. It's a hype. It's a phase where it's gonna pass. It's not gonna grow. Same applies to social media. Well, growth hacking has been around for quite a few years, and it's here to stay. Because similar to Agile and the Agile framework, it's a way of doing things in a different way. I'm not necessarily saying a better way, because then the waterfall guys will start kicking against my legs, but I'm just saying a different way. So some other myths about growth hacking is that you can only apply it to a startup, or that you can only apply it to a large company. I've heard both, actually, so which one is true? Doesn't really matter. You can apply it anywhere. Another myth is that you actually need a growth hacker. So do we have anyone here who has the title growth hacker? I've met quite a few of them, and I remember the first time I was at an event and I met a guy and I started talking to him and I said, "So what do you do?" And he said to me, "I'm a growth hacker." And I had to say, "Sorry, you're what?" He said, "I'm a growth hacker." And he was French, so I'm not going to say how that sounded to me, but it did not sound very well. So I had to ask him, and then he started explaining to me, and I said to him, "They actually pay you for this?" And this was a good few years ago. He said, "Yeah, they actually pay me to just sit and growth hack and to think of better ways of doing this process." And he was specifically working in marketing. So, but you don't need a growth hacker, right? You need to have the right mindset. So all the other skills that you need, because growth hacking is multidisciplinary, you can acquire, or you can hire freelancers, right? If development is your thing, you don't need to know about marketing. You don't need to know about the testing environment. You can get different people to assist you with that process. So, some basic principles in growth hacking. The first one, I think the most important one, is the mindset. By having the right mindset, you've pretty much achieved probably 30 or 40% of what you need to start growth hacking yourself. The second one is customer centricity. Put your customer in the middle. Be data-driven. Data is absolute key. But not just any data. And we'll talk a bit more about that, because For a lot of us, and for me it was too, data is quantitative data. I got data, I analyzed that data, and I think I know what's wrong, right? I'm not so sure, because you need to validate that data. Growth, of course, validation, as mentioned. Data without validation, you're on a very slippery slope. The next one is creativity and experimentation. You need to be able to, but also have the guts to experiment, to use your creativity, to try different things, to try, fail, try again, fail, try again, fail. The light bulb, the first light bulb, before it actually worked, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of light bulbs that were tried and tested before they actually got to one that worked and that functioned properly. Same applies to pilots and prototypes. So, multidisciplinary, but I already gave it away. You don't need to have all these skills yourself. You can actually, there are so many people that can assist you with this, so get that knowledge externally if you need to. Now we look at the process. I think this is a really crucial part, because to be able to growth hack, you need to go through the proper process. And the process starts with concept. So the concept is where you have the eureka moment. Earlier today with machine learning, I heard about a doppelganger app. So imagine that we want to build a doppelganger app. Everybody knows what a doppelganger is. It's two people that look alike. We've seen some great techniques. You can go to Azure and you can build that app. So that's the concept. We have the concept, we have the idea. But what's next? Priority. So we need to give it priority. And to do this, we can use a model. The model is called the PI model. And that PI model allows us to give priority to our prototype, or our idea, really, our idea. Once we have priority, or we feel that this has enough priority for us, and there is an interest in this, we can move on to the next stage, which is testing. So we have the idea, we've given it enough priority, we've added some resources to it. What we need to do next is we need to test it, right? So when do we test? And I noticed there's a few developers in here. Which one of you tests during the development phase? Yeah, keep your hands up, okay. Which one of you tests during the prototyping phase? And which one of you tests during the concept phase? And now we have very few hands left, unless your hands got tired. But this is what we typically see. We test a lot. But do we test really, really at an early stage? Even at concept stage, you should already be testing. You should be testing whether that doppelganger app, whether people are going to use it, whether people are interested in this. I meet a lot of clients, and with a lot of these clients, we see that they start developing, and they're pre-release, and they get us involved, or they decide to do a massive test to find out whether their proposition is an interesting one for their target audience. Turns out it isn't. So what do you do then, right? You're quite late in the process. You've spent thousands and thousands of krona, but your target audience, your consumers, your users are not actually waiting for your solution. So make sure you test really, really early. Test at the concept stage. Fail fast and fail early. Now, how do you know you failed? That's an interesting one. How do you know you've actually failed? Because I've developed it, I've tested it, it works. Right? So that's not a fail. If you define the fail-pass criteria yourself, you never know whether you've actually failed. So therefore, again, make sure you validate. You validate and you validate. Data-driven, another element of growth hacking. So data-driven, quantitative data, I mentioned it before, just having quantitative data is not enough. You need to have qualitative data. That's also part of the validation process. If you have quantitative data, combine it with qualitative data, means that you get the answers. You get the why, the hows, the how come, the what's. Because those are the questions you want to have answered from your users, right? You want to be user-centric. You want to make sure that you understand their journey. Of course, a great way of doing this is automation, another element in growth hacking. Automate as much as possible, because anything that you can automate, I think you should. It saves you a lot of resources, and it means you can test, or you can look at the menial tasks, at the menial functions really, really quickly. But don't forget the human element, because only testing something in an automated manner makes you lose out on the very valuable human element. Everything we do in tech is ultimately based around humans, right? It could be a person working in an office that works with a back office system, or it could be a consumer or an end user. Everything we do is based around these users. So make sure we put them in the middle and we validate every proposition we have with these people. So, and how do you actually do that? You test with users. Of course, I work for a crowd testing company, but that put aside, there's a lot you can do yourselves. You can, for example, create a crowd, right? If you have customers, you can create your own customer panel. Now, some of you, or probably most of you, already have customer panels. Only thing you want to be careful of is that panels typically have people that are super happy or people that are really, really unhappy. So you get the top 10% and the bottom 10%. You miss out on the 80% in the middle. So find a way to get people in your panel that are not part of that 20%. The second thing you can do, or you have to do, is to make sure that you don't have bias. You want to eliminate bias as much as possible. If you invite your users to your office and you set them in an amazing room, you give them coffee, maybe some cake, of course they're going to give you certain answers. They're going to give you answers that they expect, they think that you expect from them. So that's where you get the bias. So make sure that when you do those processes, you don't fall for those traps. Also, you need to have a platform. You need to have a way of communicating with your panel. A panel is only worth something if you engage with people, if you engage with them on a regular basis. So you can all set up your own testing lab or your test panel in which you can ask your users to look at your propositions, and by doing so, you can improve their digital journey. So we've looked at growth hacking, albeit in a nutshell. I'm completely out of time. I could have talked for at least another hour. But thanks so much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free. I think we have about a minute left. If not, just I'll be around for a drink after. Please feel free to come to me, and happy to answer all your questions. Thank you.